You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. They make it super simple. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with coverage options tailored to your choices. Plus, you'll see which discounts you may qualify for, like the online quote discount or savings for paying in full. In fact, 99% of Progressive Auto customers earn at least one discount. See if you could save when you switch to Progressive. You'll feel good about making a savvy choice. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little extra cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Bleav.
Doesn't matter if you're an Indian or if you're a Warhawk.
The ULM mention is the greatest.
This is the Bleav in the Warhawks podcast, powered by WarhawkReport.com.
With hosts Dusty Thibodeau and Chase Region. More important than baseball. Sorry, Ford. What on earth did I just walk into? I think I'm doing this right, but he's yelling at me, so I'm not. And so,
What are these guys always talking about?
We talk a lot about food on this podcast, and I'm going to continue to do so.
So was that actually y'all's idea? That's awesome.
Nailed the introduction, by the way. Awesome.
Thanks,
I love
Fish.
it.
Chase, you're finally back.
Yeah.
I didn't miss you last week. We rolled on without you. We heard from Aiden Armenta. We talked to DJ Fortenberry, the president, El Presidente of the L Club.
Yep. Worked with DJ on the L Club. Great guy.
Yeah. I think he's warming up. Maybe he's going to replace Friday Ellis as the leader of Monroe.
That's the mayor, huh? Yeah. Well, he's been involved in political space, and it. I've heard. Do we know if he was good or bad at ULM at baseball?
He wore a uniform. That is correct, Chase.
Good guy. Love that he wore the old ULM on him.
I did forget though. Is that your house on fire, Chase?
My house is on fire, Tips. Come on.
Yeah, he wore the uniform though, Chase. I forgot that he had straddled the NOU Indians, or should I say the ULM Indians and the ULM Warhawks time frame.
Dang, he's old. That's cool though. I bet he's got some cool old merch from it.
Probably so.
Yeah.
Chase,
cool.
did you, when you played your last snap, did you walk out with some equipment and things maybe you were supposed to have turned back in?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've got a whole tub of it here at the house. Absolutely. Jerseys. Remember this is probably that my equipment manager's gone. They back then you had to pay for your jerseys. I just would take them to the house.
Well, we have the current equipment guy that is here to collect from you there, Chase. David Cox joins us. David, did you hear that? Are you breaking out the brass knuckles, getting ready to put a little beat down on Chase and get your stuff back?
No, that's all right. No, it's outdated, so it doesn't matter. Oh yes, that's why. That's one of the reasons they brought me in, because stuff was going out of the equipment room just like it was a fire sale always. Except no money changed hands.
Yeah, I would always try, and for some reason, always get caught. But there was nothing better than trying to just walk in there, steal a pair of shorts, and then think you got them, good for the day, and then somebody catches you in the hallway and says, "Hey, I'm gonna need those back tomorrow." Which I've never done to you, David. I promise, I've never done it to you.
It's kind of tough. I keep everything under lock and key.
And now we know why there, Chase.
Yeah,
but David,
exactly.
Longtime guy on the Bayou. What is it about the Bayou that brought you in when you were a student way back in the day to NLU at the time?
I had never heard about NLU. Like I told you pre-interview, me and my dad had seen NLU at the time play one game at the State Fair Classic. They played Northwestern before I graduated high school in the mid '70s. I don't remember what it was. I don't even know if ULM won or lost or NLU at the time. I know I liked them, and that's the team we cheered for because I hated Northwestern with passion. But my next door neighbor, Ted Leonard, he was the Shreveport Caddo Parish Player of the Year from Southwood High School, where I went. And NLU at the time, Coach Crow invited him over for the weekend, and he didn't want to go by himself. So he said, "Will you come with me?" So I came over, and in the process, he goes and meets with Coach Crow, and I'm just wandering around. And I said, "I'm going to go see what's going on in the equipment room." I'll go in there, and next thing you know, they're recruiting me to come over to be an equipment guy. And hey, next thing I know, I'm here, and I haven't. That was in '79, and I have not left.
So you did equipment back as a student?
Yes, I was an equipment guy for 5 years under Percy Sims.
Wow. And it was just kind of like, I know it's a really, first off, I know it's one of those jobs. What I know about it, okay, I don't want to talk about how like I know all about your job, but from my standpoint as a player, I saw those guys as really organized. Like you had obviously the fitting and all that. What kind of attracted you to saying, "Hey, I'd like to be a part of this"? Was it kind of being a part of the team, or was it, you like the work?
In high school, my parents wouldn't let me play. So the coaches found out that, hey, he's at every game. He wants to be involved, but his parents won't let him play. So Grover Colvin, he was the offensive coordinator at Southwood. He came to me in PE class one day and he said, "I know they won't let you play, but would you think they'd let you be a manager?" So I go home and I asked them. They said, "Sure, you can do that. You can't get hurt." So that's where I started, and I learned it at Southwood. And I mean, it's the best way to be involved without being involved. I mean, it's kind of tough to get hurt as an equipment guy unless you're not paying attention. And I have been run over on the sideline a couple of times not paying attention, but that's what you get for not paying attention.
I was about to say, don't you remember 2 years ago, Southern Miss, Dr. John Lipka went to the hospital. He's okay, and he was okay from that. But there are some casualties.
I thought he was dead. I'll be honest.
Oh, gosh.
He took a shot.
He did, man. Poor guy.
But I took the same kind of shot. We played Lamar in Beaumont while I was still a student, and I got hemmed in on the 50-yard line, and Nathan Johnson came out of bounds, hit me dead square in the chest. I went flying backwards, hit the back wall at Beaumont. Balls went flying, and of course, my best friend Don Wheeler watched it on TV. And we didn't have cell phones back in the time. The minute I got home, my phone was ringing. I saw you get killed on the sideline, and he was dying laughing. So a good thing we didn't have the recording devices that we have now. I'd been in trouble.
Or you could have gone viral, and you would be the man, and everyone would remember you for that.
Oh yes.
Everyone talks about back in the days though of John David Crow, of how just intimidating he was, how great of a guy he was, but how intimidating he was. Was that kind of your experience when you walked in that first day of practice with him?
Never seen anybody so intense in all my days. Him and Harold Stillman, they were the two most intense guys I've ever seen. Coach Crow, he demanded the manager's sprint run. I mean, I'm a big guy. I mean, I don't run very well, but I promise you, I ran wherever I was supposed to go because I didn't want to be called out. And then Coach Stillman, he always had Mr. Percy put a ball peen in the top of his hat. And he did that. So if somebody messed up on the field, he'd just whack them with his hat, and that big old ball peen would hit them in the head, and it would echo in their helmet, and they knew they messed up. So he was very. I mean, I saw him grab players by the helmet and just slam their face mask into his face until his head was bleeding. But I mean, that's how I was introduced into college football. I mean, I was at a very calm high school, I guess, but boy, that was the first year. Coach Crow standing in his perch up top, yelling and screaming at everybody to run and expected perfection, and then Coach Stillman slamming people's heads against his face with their face mask and him bleeding and just continuing on. I thought, boy, what have I got myself into?
Did you ever get to be close enough to the 1957 Heisman Trophy, though, that lived in Malone Stadium?
Oh, passed by it many a time, many a day. Picked it up, very heavy, very good paperweight. because that's probably about all it's used for, really. If you want to know the honest truth, it's set right as you walk in the door to the left of where the AD is now. Set on that table for the full time he was there, basically collecting dust.
Well, you've got to be obviously I know you're working during the games. You got to watch a lot of football, and I think from an equipment point, I've always been really, interested in how the equipment's changed during my time playing, and obviously how technique and all that's changing. What do you think has been the biggest improvement in the way the game, is either played or the equipment? That kind of question. What do you think the biggest improvement's been?
The helmets. Speaking of Coach Crow, this in the first. I wasn't here that year, but when he first got there, I'm thinking it was '77. They had a white helmet. I never knew anything about that helmet, but
hard shell, right? Or was it still leather?
It was a hard shell. Well, in my first tenure from '99 to 2008, I went up under the stadium and walked back as far as I could and had a flashlight, and I found a stash of helmets, white helmets. So I grabbed the best couple and brought them out. They were hard shell helmets, but they had a water insert. And that's what they played with. And now you can digitally get it fitted for your head. We're not to that yet because that's very expensive. But you do that, and the padding is very lightweight. You got communication systems inside the helmets, and it's just they've come so far that that is ridiculous. I mean, that helmet that's there, it's heavier. It doesn't even have a face mask on it, and it's heavier than any helmet that we've got as we've progressed through the years.
Yeah,
I don't know how they wore it. I mean, put a mask on it. I'm surprised their head wasn't drooping down. I imagine they probably had pretty strong necks back in those days.
They had to do a lot of neck exercise, wearing a water bag on your head. I remember when they came out with the Revolution and the Speed Flex or whatever it was. Ooh, David,
Revolution was first, and it's
old now.
The Shut DNA, those two right there.
That's right.
And neither one of them exists anymore. And then they
really?
went to no,
dang, that makes me feel.
And they went from the Revolution. They went from Revolution to the Speed Flex, and that's what we have now. Well, they went from the Revolution to Speed, now it's Speed Flex, and they've got a new one that we're getting this year. I think it's called the Edge, I believe is what it's called. It's what it is. It's the outside shell of a Speed Flex, but it's the insides of the big expensive one they have that Rydell right now. Can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but that helmet is like $1,000 per unit. And what they told us is Rydell made this Edge for the G4, because we can't afford, the G4 schools can't afford the $1,000 a pop, where the Alabamas and Texas of the world, that's just chump change for them. But for us, they're making it where it's only $400 a helmet, which that's the going price. So we're going to go ahead and step up and go to that one and start buying that one instead of just the Speed Flex. And it's supposed to be state of the art. You can go ahead and get the computer system on the inside of it, so it tells you when you've been hit, how hard you've been hit, and should you have a concussion or not have a concussion, and where you got hit, when you got the concussion. It's got all that. I don't know whether we're going to buy all that right now, but it is available. And then Shud also has come out with a new F7 that looks completely different than anything they've ever had. And our guys saw it. Most of our guys hate Shud helmets, and they saw it sitting there, and they thought it was another Rydell product. And they fell in love with it, picked it up and held it. It's very, very lightweight, looks real good. I mean, it is one of the better looking Shut products I've ever seen. So, they have 2 new helmets this year, and we're lucky enough to get 24 of each. So we'll see where all that goes.
While we're talking about helmets, David, I got to ask this because it's one of the biggest things that I think a lot of casual fans see and notice. why is everyone's helmet flying off? In particular, Billy Pullen in his 2-year career at ULM.
It's called not tightening up your chin strap. The chin straps are now zippers, and there's one permanent that's attached to the helmet, and the other one is a zipper that you can tighten it to where it won't come off. Well, I would say probably 75% of them never even touch it. I mean, you can just watch it. They'll with one hand they'll put their helmet on over their head and never reach for the chin strap and go out there and play on it. It falls off. People, well, why is it falling off? Well, because they don't tighten your chin strap. Don't ask me why. I know I wouldn't want to go out there without it tightened. I'd want everything so tight that it couldn't dare come off of me.
So I stand next to David during the games. You can always see, we chat a little bit in the games, not too much. Again, he's working. But I remember that happened in one game. It happened damn near 11, 12 times. And I finally walked over to him, and he looks all pissed off. And I said, David, why does this why do their helmets keep on? He goes, they won't tighten the damn chin strap. They won't do it. And he just is yelling, and you can tell people looking at him. He's like, they won't do it. I don't know why. I said, okay. So he was so frustrated. Everybody's looking at him to, like, David, why is this happening? He's like, it's not my fault. I promise.
Can't make them. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
And David, I know a big part of your job is all the equipment, making sure the guys look good on the field, make sure they're safe with the equipment. But what's maybe one part of your job that people are like, God, I didn't know he had to do that?
Something I'm doing right now. Right. This is supposed to be an easy month for me because the coaches are going on vacation tomorrow. They're going to be gone for 2 weeks. The players are gone. It's supposed to be where I don't get to take off very often. So, this is supposed to be time for me. If I want to take off a day here and there, fine, go ahead. Well, that changed 2 weeks ago when about 700 Adidas boxes showed up. And I have to count every single individual thing in each box because what we order, we need. We're not like, some of the big schools that they ship a box in, they just grab it and throw it up on the shelf and keep going. I have to open every box, count it, make sure it's accounted for. And if it's not, then we need Adidas to send us what we're missing. And that's 700 boxes. We're not talking about shoes. That's just apparel. Shoes started coming in Wednesday of last week. I can barely move in the equipment room right now. I've got run over into our laundry room right now of shoes, and that I haven't even got a chance to get to. And then Thursday afternoon late, I got another about 150 boxes in, and then I get a phone call Thursday afternoon late. This is ADF Trucking. I need to find out when we can deliver this football equipment to you. I can't remember who was in the equipment room with me. I said, I think it was Phil. And I said, Phil, I'm pretending I didn't even hear this. I'm not going to deal with it till Monday, and I'll call him, tell him, I don't know what to tell you because I don't know where to put it. I mean, we have no more room. I mean, I have no storage room, and our only option is put it on the ramp of the stadium. And I don't think that's a good idea because people can just walk in, take it, and be gone. So I don't know what we're going to do. It's kind of fun right now trying to figure out what's going to go on with all that, count it, get it put up in the spots, get it over to the printer, and have it back in time for fall practice to start.
Yikes. Well, just so just saying I wear a size 14. I thought you were going to talk about the intricate, how many days do y'all get before the games, the football games, away games? Is it 2 or 3 days beforehand? And how much work it is, because you got very short amount of time to load it all back up too before that bus leaves.
The truck normally gets home. Well, we normally get home. The truck is right behind us on the way home because we both leave at the same time, unless it's a flight trip. And like last year, where did we even go on the road last year? We saw Coastal and El Paso. The truck didn't even get back to the stadium until after lunch on Sunday. I mean, I'm sitting doing PA for soccer, and our truck drives up. So, they're waiting on me to get through with that so that we can get the truck unloaded. So that means that I have to immediately start washing uniforms then, and whether it's a home or road game, by Monday afternoon, everything's got to be put up in its place, cleaned, dried, done, ready to start and getting ready for the next week. And then me and the students, we get ready. We start loading and refilling all the trunks on usually late Tuesday into Wednesday. And by Thursday morning, we have everything lined up outside in the hall, ready to go on the truck as soon as we get there Thursday morning and start it all over again. And the truck normally leaves like when we go to App this year, the truck will probably leave about 10 o'clock Thursday night, and it will get there about an hour to hour and a half before we land in North Carolina. So we'll go straight from the airport to the stadium, get it all set up, and it'll be ready to go before we go to supper Friday night. And then we'll load it back up on Saturday after the game and start all over again.
I'm tired just hearing that.
You ain't lying.
It's very tiring, trust me. I mean, I used to be, I'm getting on up in age now. So I used to drive home, and then as soon as got home, wash the uniforms. Well, last year, 2 years ago, really, on the way back from Troy, I stopped about halfway back. Said, "Somebody gonna have to drive. I can't." I said, "Y'all either gonna have to drive, or we're gonna wreck and kill. We're gonna all wreck and kill us all because I can't stay awake. I'm tired, and I still got to wash uniforms when I get home." So I I've made a decision that I may not even drive any this year. I just might sit. I've got two students that are capable and want to do that, so they might get that chance, and I might just let them and quit worrying about driving because it's very tiring for me. But we'll get it done and we'll get it set up and we'll be ready to go on game day. And the locker room's going to look nice for them every game. And
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
I mean, Dustin, you saw it at El Paso. I mean, we spent most of the day on Saturday at El Paso just sitting out in that little open area where the wind was whipping through, where it felt pretty good, and we just sat there waiting because we were done. We were ready to go, and I'd rather have a day game so we don't have to sit and wait. But that night game that night, we were at the stadium by 12 o'clock and just sitting there waiting on the game to happen because we were ready to go.
David, your first tenure there as equipment guy, 99 to 07, that includes that good Alabama win there, I do believe.
Nope, Alabama was the year after. I missed the Alabama.
Oh, yeah. It was, wasn't it?
Yes.
Man.
But the year before I came, I missed the Hawaii trip. And the year after I left, we beat Alabama. I thought, well, that's my luck. That's the way it goes.
But you were there for the 05 Sun Belt Conference trifecta of sharing. How great was that team that you remember? And who's maybe amongst your time of being affiliated, your favorite player that you've ever had to work with?
Oh, let's see. All three of the ones that were my favorite to work with were back when I was a student. And those three are, there's four. Tag Rome, of course, Mitch Renfro, Rodney Horn, and John Holman. Those four guys, they were so fun to be around, so fun to work for. John Holman, I was keeping the book for one of the baseball games a couple of weeks ago, and I look, hand on my shoulder and turn around. It's John Holman come up to see me. And I mean, that makes me feel good because this is a guy that's got a bunch of records in the book, and he saw the little guy that made sure his uniforms were clean, made sure he had nice stuff to wear even back then as a student, and he remembered that, and it just makes you feel good when people like that remember you and come up and speak. And I mean, a lot of times it happens still, and I don't even know who the person is. I have to stop and say, okay, you have to tell me who you are because I don't remember. Because I've been through so many kids. About 100. Back then, it was about 120 to 140 per year, and now it's even 105 a year. So I've probably done over 10,000. Not I've probably done over 3 or 4,000 kids, and I don't remember who everybody is, but I mean once I get a first name, I know exactly who they are, and I mean it's just nice to meet most of them, and the thing that gets me with them is they remember the hard work we put in. And one of the first things they always said, if I was ever disrespectful to you, I'm sorry. And majority of them aren't. I mean, every once in a while there is somebody that is, but majority of them aren't. And I mean, that's the first thing I tell them. You never were disrespectful. I loved working with you, and I loved being around you. And that's one of the things in this college game, that some of these guys are so fun to be around. I mean, uh, in this day and age where they come and go year, I don't want to get close to anybody because they're gone the next year, and then I don't want to I don't have to be mad at anybody. Don't blame them for leaving, but I don't want to be mad at anybody.
You got a great coach right now in BV. What's he been like, knowing that really he's doing some things that we've never seen before? We have the multiple uniform combinations, multiple helmets. Do you like it, or do you kind of cringe going, God, I got to re-decal these or snap the new skin on? Anything like that running through the equipment room?
I don't mind it. It's just we have to get so many new jerseys each year because the players change. And back when I first started, 1 through 20 was offensive guys. 20s through 40 were the biggest one you'd ever get in would be linebackers, and all the big linemen would be in 50 and up. Now you got defensive linemen wanting to wear number 3, and then number 4 and whatever, and you got to make sure they've got a jersey that fits them, and we have to spend a good bit of money on that, and that's hard to do every year. But we're sticking with the 4 uniforms we've got right now. We'll do color combinations on those. We are going to have a new helmet this year. I'm not gonna say what color it is right now, but it is very nice. We're not going to have a new logo. We're going to use the logo we've already got, and it's going to look very well on it. And then we will have I'm still working. I haven't got it 100% approved, but working on a patriotic look of our star, to change the color of our star for our patriotic game, and in November, use our red, white, and blue star instead of our maroon, or excuse me, our burgundy, white, and gold star. But I've got a mock-up of it. It looks great, but we just got to make sure that it's going to be approved and we can use it.
What's your favorite? I know we had talked one day about the grays, but what's your favorite?
I think the best color combination is I just really love the red jersey and the white pant. I don't know why I
Classic
didn't have
guy,
any.
huh?
Did not have anything to do with the designing of those. I mean, I wish we would change the red jersey just a little bit, but that's, to me, that is the best look. I mean, it just looks fresh to me, and I really like that. I mean, the two new, myself and Michael Gammons did the black jersey, and I pretty much threw the gray one together. And Coach Vincent, I don't like that. Let's look at something else. Or and then we got it fixed where we liked it. And I do like the gray. And but like I said, the best uniform combo would be red and white. We don't ever get to wear that, but that's my favorite one.
The grays with the red helmet looks so good.
Now the red helmet's is my favorite. I
Come on,
don't know
take
why,
credit
but
for
I
it.
mean,
Oh,
I when we were playing with the color of that, and they sent me that color to look at, I said, "This is it."
it just looks slick.
It's called the adenization, and the one that we're getting this year is also going to have adenization on it also. But and believe it or not, we're not going to get it this year, but they've also found a way to make a camo helmet for us. So
So
we
that
can
was my next
we
question,
can
David.
we do have we have the capabilities now of getting a camo skin, and we were going to do that and put the red, white, and blue star on it, but uh budget restraints caused us not to. So we'll
Please,
work on that for another year.
please tell me that during your tenure we will have what is rated as the worst college football uniform ever. But those mossy oak jerseys were by far my favorite. And I look back on them; they were ill-fitting and they were awful to wear. And we only wore them once. But please tell me we'll bring back that mossy oak camo.
Don't think we're going to have any more new uniforms. That's what he told me. We talked
Come on.
briefly Friday, and he said we're going to stick with these 4 right now. So,
but the camos, David. I mean, I don't mean to sit here and tell you, but they were awful to watch on TV. They were hard to watch in person. They were hideous. But I tell you what, people talked about them. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, they did. But
and they still do.
I don't think they're on the horizon, though. But you never know.
David, one of your other duties, you're maybe the most hated man on the baseball diamond. You're the official scorer. Is that just a sign of in the G6 you got to wear so many hats, or is that just the ULMOS thing that you like doing it and you'll take the heat?
I'm happy to take the heat on that. 'Cause, I mean, I do a lot of extra stuff. I mean, is it in my job description? No. To me, it's what me and my buddy Don say. It's therapy. It keeps us from going crazy because I mean, I do the scoreboard, run the clock, and then the timeout coordinator for men's and women's basketball. I do TA for soccer. I keep the score for baseball, and then with softball, I work for Wayne and ESPN Plus for softball. So I do something constantly, and I do it because to me, like I said, it's therapy. I'm going to be at the games, so I might as well get paid while I'm at them. But I just enjoy doing stuff like that. I mean, when I wasn't employed at ULM, from '79 till I came on as the head guy in '99, I always worked in stats. I was one of the football stat guys, and then I've been doing clock. Good Lord, I've probably been doing clock since probably the mid '80s in basketball, and I don't know what I would do if they told me you can't do clock anymore. I don't know what I would do. Of course, I don't think I have to worry about that because nobody else wants to do it. So,
you and Corey Crow, man. I'll tell you what.
I mean, we had to talk Corey off the ledge last year. He was going to walk away. He's after the season at this time last year. He said, "I think I'm done." I tell him, "said You ain't done nothing. You put your tail back next year."
You still alive, Corey? You're still going.
I said, "What else are you going to do, Corey, besides do this?" And he just stopped and looked at me and he said, "You're right." So. Yeah, but we had to talk him down. I mean, it had been a bad year this time last year, and we were all tired, and it looked like we could all say that's it. We don't want to do any more, but we're all back, and we'll all be back again next year, and we enjoy it. And I just know that like in basketball, when the officials come in, the first thing they say to us is, "We don't have to worry about anything over this table. Y'all are the best crew in the Sun Belt Conference by far." And I mean, heck, as far as that goes, I've ran the clock for the Women's Southeastern Conference basketball tournament. I did that for 5 years in a row. And Don has worked Final Fours for women's basketball. I think he's worked 4 Final Fours. And I mean, our table crew is probably one of the most decorated table crews there is. I mean, because we've done a lot of things. And in baseball, keeping the score, I think for question maybe the whole year, 4 calls. So I think I think I'm fair on that. I mean, do I miss some? Probably. I mean, doesn't everybody? But I mean, that's one thing that we do up there, and I'm going to be fair. I'm not trying to cheat anybody. If I cheat you, it's just a mistake because I'm not going to cheat anybody. I mean, I'm going to go by the rules. I'm going to do it fair, and if it's a bang bang play, what I'm going to do, Don sits to my right, Emma Gray sits to my left, and there's usually a sports information guy from from the other school. And before I make a decision, I'm gonna say, this is what I saw. Does anybody, tell me what else y'all saw, and we'll talk about it. And before we finally rule on it, that way I know that we've got it right. And I mean, I don't know of many other schools that would probably do that, but I want things to be right. And I mean, if it's a benefit of the doubt, yeah, I'm probably gonna give it to us. But I'm not gonna. If they want somebody that's gonna cheat, they got the wrong guy, because I'm not going to.
Bringing something up there, David, that we were talking about before we started the episode, the chief. How can we reverse the curse? Whether it be that next time I'm in town, David, we go scouring campus for this costume to either set it afire on the bayou or set up a awesome homage display for it somewhere on campus.
Something needs to happen. I bet we could probably get Paul Letlow involved in it too. But something needs to be done. I mean, it just seems like we just have bad luck. Everywhere we go, we have bad luck. What we talked about, back in '83 when we're fighting to get to the national playoffs for the first year, and we're going to play North Texas in our last game of the season, and Rodney Horn sticks his hand through a fan because he gets ticked off at his girlfriend. And then we put a freshman in the game, and we get beat, and we ended up tied. And I got a ring for it, but we didn't get to go to the playoffs. We sat at home, and North Texas went to the playoffs. We had to wait 3 or 4 more years before we even got to the playoffs. And then what happens this weekend in baseball? Half the team is struck with a virus. I mean, it seems like we can't get a break on anything. The most important weekend of the season, we come in, we've still got a chance. Ford did a great job with this baseball team this year. And I mean, you got to realize that the portal had already been opened and had been scoured through before he even got a chance. And he still came up with a good team. And we're fighting the last weekend, and you look up and half the team is at home with the virus. I mean, it's got to be. It's either the costume that's in the closet that's hid, or we're built on an Indian burial ground somewhere.
With the way the luck is, it's got to be both. And I'm telling you, I wish I could have kept the flame going when I had Brent Leonard and Kevon Milton worked up to go look for it and destroy it. I really wish I would have.
Well, I know that I was the equipment person when we had to change from NLU to ULM, and then 2 years later we had to go from Indians to Warhawks. So all that was a nightmare for me anyway. And now all of a sudden we might have jumped the gun. It was probably okay for everybody to stay what they are because it's not so politically incorrect now, because they won't want their name being used. And I think, well, why didn't y'all investigate a little bit more when y'all made those decisions? I mean, heck, we're the Washita Indians. I don't think we're not just disrespecting them. They're not even around anymore. And at the time, James Malone's wife was still alive, and she said, she said, I'm a full-blooded Indian, and I have nothing against it. So I'll never understand why we did that and caved to the NCAA when we didn't have to.
David, we always close out with the interviews with Chase's favorite question.
Oh yeah.
What's the eats? Where do you got to go eat in Monroe when you're done doing your deal in Malone?
My favorite place is Amigos. Mexican. That's my favorite.
That's a new one.
It's out in the Lake Shore. I love it. It's where Chili Verde used to be, and then they opened it up as an Amigos, and that's just my go-to place. I pretty much every Monday is where I go there. Now, when we go on the road, that's one thing my kids like about me. We're going to find the best sports bar in town, and we're going to go, and usually it's right on campus. I know, like South Al will go to the one right basically across the street from the stadium. And we went in there, and I was fully expecting to be razzed and all that. We had a great time. The people there, it was all South Alabama fans. They talked, they joked, we had a good time. No bad blood between anybody. And after we left, they shook our hands, said thank y'all for coming in, and that's the kind of places that we I like to carry our kids, so they can see what life is in other college towns, and it's just to me, I just like doing stuff like that for our kids, and they end up having a good time. And one thing is, when I first got here back in 23, our first road trip was to Texas A&M, and I told our kids, I said, we need to come up with a place to go eat. And we searched it, and we figured there's 3 places. Y'all pick the one y'all want to go to. And they didn't even look at them. They didn't even care. They didn't think we was going to do anything. So we get there to the motel, and I think we got through setting up the locker room at 4. And I told them, I said, be back down here in the lobby at 6. We're going to eat. And all of them in unison just turned and looked at me and said, what? I said, yeah, we're going to go eat. I said, I told y'all that. They said, you really meant that? I said, yeah. He said, well, the last guy here, he just turned us loose and said, good luck. I said, oh, no. David don't do that. David takes care of his kids. And we went to, I think it's called Wings and Things or something like that. I don't know. And we sat there for 2.5 hours and just got to know each other and became a family. And that's what my big thing is right now. I want my group of kids to be a family, because if they are a family, they're going to work harder together, and they're going to get things done, and we'll do our job better, which makes the team better, which make Coach Vincent happy. So that's my thing right now. I talked to a GA the other day, and I told him the virtues of us wanting to have a family type atmosphere. And he said, I don't even want to talk to anybody else. This is where I want to be, because I enjoy the fact that you want it to be a family atmosphere. And I said, that's just me. That's the way I've always been. That's the way I want it to be. I want us to be a family, know each other when the seasons are over with and y'all are gone away. Y'all come through town, you come by and you see me, and you know who I am, and we speak to each other. I mean, I still have kids calling me now that worked for me the first time. I mean, I had one of my guys was working with the Cowboys as a chiropractor. Benji Lewis worked for me my first go around, and head coach at Washita. And I have a lot of kids that are into coaching and whatever else. They got great contacts working in the equipment room. People don't understand that. You get great contacts working in the equipment room, where it can come back and help you later when you're trying to get a job. And I want us to be a family so we can help each other get that job that they're interested in, but also get an education that helps them get a job later in life.
Fantastic stuff. David, can't thank you enough for breaking away from counting Adidas gear to chop it up here with us. Always look forward to talking to you when we're on the bayou.
Great talking to y'all too, and just holler back anytime you need. No problems.
So what are you proposing?
It's simple.
Perhaps you should read the instructions first.
If you liked the show, like and subscribe wherever you stream podcast.
Is that good for us or bad for us?
Follow us on X at Warhawk_report. Like us on Facebook at Warhawk Report, and click the subscribe button on YouTube for Fun Belt Podcast.
He's done!
Done? Mm-hmm. It's only been an hour.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.